Oh, these podcasts seem to be getting harder and harder. Hello and welcome to All Things Arsenal podcast. We'll be talking about all things Arsenal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the positives. And the first positive is not to do with Arsenal, it's to do with my channel, which has now reached 25 subscribers, which is a quarter of a century. So I'm very, very thankful for that. Thank you to everyone who has supported my channel, who has subbed, who has commented, who has liked my videos. I really appreciate it. And it's probably the only thing that's keeping me going doing this channel at the moment. So I really want to thank you guys for that. The next thing I'm just going to quickly talk about, because I was going to do a video about this the other day, but I just kind of ran out of time and the transfer news was going so quickly by the time I finished the video, is just go through the two new signings we made the other day. The two new signings made the other day, one is a very familiar face in Martin Odegaard, who we had on loan the back end of last season and did relatively well, scored 2 goals, one in the North London derby, and particularly what really impressed me about him was that second half in the West Ham game where we were 3-0 down, came back 3-3, and he literally orchestrated that game. He was so good in that game. So there is obviously talent there. He's 22 years old and he can only get better. And I feel that the deal that we actually got for him was a really good deal. You know, he signed a 5-year contract. We picked him up for £30 million up front, which could rise to, I believe, 34 million with add-ons. So I'm really pleased with the deal, and he's obviously very familiar with the club. He's very familiar with the players. So welcome back, Martin Odegaard. I'm sure you'll hit the ground running when you do come back. And another one I want to welcome as well is Aaron Ramsdale. There's been a lot of negativity about him coming in, which is really sad to see, because I do see a good goalkeeper in him. 23 years old, he's English, and I know a lot of people were complaining about the price. Ultimately, he's an Englishman. They are going to cost more. There's a premium price for English players. And a lot of people saying, oh, well, he's been relegated with teams in the Premier League. Well, that's not all just down to the goalkeeper. You have to look as well at the defence that's in front of the goalkeeper. You look at last year, Sheffield United, they got relegated. They were rock bottom, I believe. And a lot of people blaming him for that. But you look at the defence that was in front of him, it wasn't a good defence. I mean, Sheffield United were really poor last season. So I think a lot of criticism thrown at Ramsdale, and I think very harsh on him. And ultimately, he's a backup keeper that is coming in to, well, be the backup keeper, but also to challenge Leno for the number 1 spot. So, you know, I am pleased that we've got him. I believe the fee was £24 million up front, and it could rise to 30 million. And there were actually reports that Sheffield United wanted to get £40 million for Ramsdale, but because he was unhappy that he potentially wasn't getting the move to Arsenal, I think he, you know, pushed from the other side, and we got a £30 million deal done for him. So I'm willing to give this guy a chance. You know, he seems like he's really pleased to be at the club. He's 23 years old, and, you know, with how long goalkeepers go on for, he could be our goalkeeper for the next 10 to 15 years. So, you know, welcome Aaron Ramsdale. I'm pleased to have you anyway, and I'm really backing you to succeed at Arsenal Football Club. Okay, and this is where the podcast turns negative and sad. What I witnessed today, what I saw, obviously us losing the London derby 2-0 at the Emirates. It's a strange one because I expected to lose the game. I knew we wouldn't be able to cope with Lukaku, but when you watch it and when it becomes reality, you just think to yourself, you know, where on earth are we going as a football club, and what is going to happen to us this season? And there's a lot of divide amongst the fans. Some people saying that it's the board's fault, some people saying it's Edu's fault, some people saying that it's Arteta's fault, some people saying that's everyone's fault. And for me, yes, all three of those parties are to blame for what's going on. Of course, the players have to take responsibility as well. But what I would say about the board, and don't get me wrong, I really don't like the boards. I don't want them to be our board. You know, I think Daniel Ek, I think his name is, I want him to come in and be, you know, the new board member. But ultimately we're going to have to put up with these guys until they leave, and I don't know when that's going to be. But what I would say about the board, despite my personal feelings against them, is if you look at the transfer spend for this transfer window, Arsenal have spent the most money. We spent around £130 million, which would probably suggest that actually Arteta has been backed. Edu has been given facilities to get players in. So I wouldn't be looking at the board in this particular scenario. A lot of other scenarios, yes, I would look at them. But in this particular one, they have spent money. They have spent money on players. They've paid some big fees for some of these players. I know it's only 2 games in, but I'm not seeing anything different from the manager. I'm not seeing anything different from Edu. I'm not really seeing anything different. It's just looking like another nothing season. We've lost our first 2 games. We haven't scored a goal. We look like we're getting bullied at the back all the time. Yes, people will come and say we've got players out. Ben White got bullied in his first game. Gabriel was hit and miss for me last season. Aubameyang, people were saying, he was missing the first game. What did he do when he came on today? Zilch. So people can say that we're missing players. But realistically, if we did get those players back, would the performances change that much? I'm not convinced. So I don't back the board, but on this particular scenario, they have spent money. They have backed Arteta. They've backed the manager with signings. So what I would look at would be this process, what people call the process. Can somebody tell me what the process is? Because I'm struggling to see what this process is now. First came in, he won the FA Cup, he got us into the Europa League. That's brilliant. Short term, in that first season he was there, he done really well, and I backed him, and he deserved to have a full season last season on the back of that. Last season, as we all saw, was a nothing season. We got no European football, we won no trophies. And you look at this season, and it's looking like it's going to be the same season as last season. So where are we going? There's no direction, there's no leadership. I just don't see where we're going anymore. And it's very hard as an Arsenal fan to... Obviously, you're going to back your football club, you're going to keep watching them, you're going to keep supporting them. But I'm just struggling to see where we're going or where we're going to end up. Ultimately, for me, I would have wanted us to at least get back in the Europa League for next season, but that's even becoming a stretch at the moment. So what is the aim? What is the process? How long is the process going to be? People keep saying, but we've got talented players, we've got young players, they've got potential. But at some point in this process, the potential's got to be delivered upon. We've got to start seeing results. We can't just keep saying 2 or 3 years down the line, he's got potential. At some point, potential has got to be delivered upon. We have to start seeing the fruition of the potential. And the other thing, what's the process? We're in transition. How long is the transition going to be? For one season, I can understand it. For one season of transition, I'll accept the 1 season of transition. Is it going to be, 3, 4, 5 years? We're a big football club. I don't understand why we would feel the need to take so long in the transition period. We should be getting results. We should be getting results from these players. I feel that we do have good players, but I don't feel like they're being managed the right way. I don't feel like most of the players are getting any better. I don't feel like the manager is learning from his mistakes. So, what's going to happen? What I would say is, forget the process if it's going to be a 4 or 5 year thing. Because by the end of the process, if we do get anywhere at all, we'll be too far behind by then. Man City, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, maybe even Spurs, Leicester, they're all going to get better. And we're not going to be able to catch up because by then we'll be too far behind. Thank you for listening to this podcast. And once again, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has subscribed. You're all absolutely amazing. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for your continued support. And I will be looking to bring more content out. And hopefully things will change with Arsenal.